will be short videos, and especially I'm going to answer some questions that I got sent in from friends and also from my audience that has been following me for a while. So the first question that I'm supposed to answer is today about how I actually got started traveling and why I choose this lifestyle. And I think I'm gonna split this question because there are two different stories behind that. So I'm gonna just start about talking why I started traveling. So I'm not sure if many of you know, but I'm born in East Germany, and that's basically like behind the wall. So we did have the wall, and I don't know much about it, I'm really honest. When the wall came down, and we literally just recently celebrated 30 years of reunion. Yes. So when the wall came down, I was almost 4 years old. And you gotta understand that when I was born with a kidney failure, so I literally spent almost all of my time from the first 3.5 years of my life in hospital. And I don't remember much. I do remember the hospital, I do remember some of the nurses, I do remember even the name of the doctor who did the surgery on me. So that's a thing. But I do not remember much of East Germany. I do remember though all of the stories that I know from my sister and from my parents, and obviously that was very influencing for them. And I do believe growing up in this, like, just in this transition time and in the aftermath of what it looked like to be reunited basically with the other part of Germany, and this transition from being ruled by Russia and the UdSSR, plus having West Germany as a more Americanized part of the Germany, and that coming together as a kind of clash. I feel like it's always kind of just driven me to see what's out there. Plus, my parents, they never had a lot of money. Like, there was not much money at all. There was enough money for us to survive and to eat and to have a good life, because we quickly learned as a family that we don't need any money and any materialistic things to be happy. So that was a great lesson to learn very, very early in life. But I do believe that the story of my parents being kind of trapped in this like artificial prison of having a wall built through their country, and they're not being able to leave even their hometown for 30 years. They literally been born the year that the wall was built. And so throughout the time they've been basically living in East Germany, it got worse and worse until like the wall came down finally. So these stories always make me think, like, what if there's way much more out there than we know here? What are all the other people doing in their lives? How do other cultures look like? What do they eat? And it was especially that I felt already, although knowing my parents have been in this one place, I was like, this is too small. I can't just stay here for all my life. And so I got this very early drive to leave and to travel. And we did visit a lot of different places in Germany. So I know Germany very well too, which is great. I love it. But when I was 15, I said, like, that's enough. And I anyways had a few jobs already. I started working when I was 13. And so basically what happened was, when I finally got the chance to go and study abroad for parts of my university degree, I would move to London, and I was 19 years old. And everything went wrong. Literally everything went wrong that you can imagine. I was threatened at knife point in the middle of the night, waking up to a huge kitchen knife on my throat. I was drugged in a nightclub and ended up being knocked out in the toilet. Luckily in the toilet for like an hour until they had to break open the door, get me out. I was attacked by the landlord and beaten up. There's like, you cannot imagine everything that can go wrong went wrong. Oh, I was also scammed of of all of the money that I had borrowed from my parents by that time, and that was their only money left. And so basically what happens is that I got to know immediately the world's reality in some cases. And I'm not going to say the world is a bad place. No, you're never going to hear me saying that. What I say is like the reality of being blind to these things can slap you hard in the face. And so what happened was, like, I came back and my parents were like, oh my god, this is horrible, how are you, blah blah blah. So they thought, okay, well, now I tried and everything went wrong, so I can stop. And my thought was like, well, now I tried and everything went wrong, so I can only go better. And this is what I've done. I created better versions of traveling, and I went over and over again. I made it a priority. I saved all my money. I stopped spending it on restaurants. I stopped smoking when I was younger. All of these things that I would be doing that cost me a lot of money, I just stopped them because I prioritized travel over everything else. And this is how I got to travel to, up until now, to 44 countries so far. And especially also in my time when I was still a full-time employee, I was able to use my vacation time wisely, which we are very blessed in Germany with. We do have by law to have at least 20 days of vacation time per year, so that comes up to 4 weeks. I negotiated usually more vacation time for my contract, so I would have 5 or 6 weeks. I think 5.5 weeks was the longest that I had per year. And I would go, like, I would literally go the farthest I can go. I would start with places like China, and I would go to India, and I would go to all these places that people would tell me, oh my god, no, do you want to be robbed? Do you want to be raped? Do you want to be killed? Do you want to be, I don't know, like all of these kind of things. And I would just look at them, and I was just wondering where they get all of these great judgments from, basically. And so I immersed fully in these cultures, and I just couldn't get enough. And here I am. I do live now here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and in this, you can hear it probably, in this beautiful place. It's like a little jungle. I might be able to show you around a little bit so you can see the jungle here in the back. And I'm sitting here on the terrace of my house, basically. It's awesome, isn't it? And yeah, so this is all I want. This is gonna be my home base, and I'm gonna keep traveling from here. There are certainly a lot of Asian countries that I haven't been seeing yet. The next ones on my list is definitely Taiwan and Japan. And I also really, really want to go to Bhutan. So those places are on my list, as well as and how everything went wrong, and I just couldn't let it be. So here I am doing it better and bigger and faster. Isn't that about efficiency a little bit too? Yeah, so I would love to know from you, how did you get started to travel? Did you even travel so far already? Where did you go? And yeah, I want to know your story of how did you get started to travel and why. I'll see you tomorrow when I answer the next question from my friends and from my followers and audience. And if you do have a question for me, leave me in the comments down below, and I'm happy to answer them. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are.